Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thavinder's Bookland. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite books, Animal Farm. Animal Farm is an allegory written by George Orwell, who was born in Motihari, Bihar, British India in year 1903. Now, you might wonder what an allegory is. It's a simple story that represents a larger point about society or human nature whose different characters may represent real life figures. The characters and events of Animal Farm represents the real people and events of the Russian Revolution and its aftermath. George wrote Animal Farm because he wanted to tell the true story of the Russian Revolution in a way anyone could understand, even if they didn't know all the historical details. However, Animal Farm is not only an allegory of Russian history, the novel also makes a broader argument about political power and oppression in general. Now, without much ado, let's dive into a detailed summary of the book. The novel begins with the wild pig named as Old Major sharing a dream with the other animals of the manor farm. He tells that in his dream all animals live together with no human beings to oppress or control them. While sharing the dream, he states, man is the only creature that consumes without producing, yet he is the lord of all animals. Why work night and day, body and soul, for the overthrow of the human race? That is my message to you, comrades, rebellion. He motivates all the animals that they must work toward such a paradise and teaches them a song called Beast of England, in which his dream vision is lyrically described. A major singing is the song threw the animals into the wildest excitement. 3 nights later, the old major died peacefully in his sleep. While he dies, three younger pigs, named as Snowball, Napoleon, and Squealo, formulate his main principles into philosophy called animalism. That animals have a right to freedom and equality into a complete system of thought. Late one night, the animals successfully carried their rebellion to defeat their farm owner, Mr. Johns, in a battle. Mr. John was expelled and was forced to run from the manor farm. They rename the property to Animal Farm and dedicate themselves to achieving the old major's dream. In order to do that, Snowball came up with 7 commandments. Number 1, whatever goes upon 2 legs is an enemy. Number 2, whatever goes upon 4 legs or has wings is a friend. Number 3, no animal shall wear clothes. Number 4, no animal shall sleep in a bed. Number 5, no animal shall drink alcohol. Number 6, no animal shall kill on any other animal. Number 7, all animals are equal. At first, Animal Farm prospers. Snowball works at teaching the animals to read, and Napoleon takes a group of young puppies to educate them in the principle of animalism. When Mr. Jones reappears to take back his farm, the animals defeat him again in what comes to be known as the Battle of the Cowshed, and takes the farmers a bedding gun as a token of their victory. As time passes, Napoleon and Snowball increasingly argue and have fight over the future of the farm, and they begin to struggle with each other for power and influence among the other animals. Snowball devises a scheme to build a windmill so it can power a machine to create electricity on the farm to improve the comfort of the animal. But Napoleon solidly opposes the plan. At the regular Sunday meetings to vote on whether to take up the project, Snowball gives a passionate speech why it's important or in the favor to create a windmill on the farm. Although Napoleon gives only a brief retort, It was very obvious the people were going to vote for Snowball as his speech was very persuasive. But Napoleon makes a strange noise that no one heard before, and at this strange noise, 9 enormous dogs came bounding in the barn. They dashed straight for Snowball. In a moment, he was out of the door and they were after him. After this sad expulsion of Snowball, Napoleon became the leader of Animal Farm and declares that there will be no more Sunday meetings as they are wasted time. From that point on, he asserts the pigs alone will make all the decisions for the good of every animal. And after a couple of weeks, Napoleon announced the windmill was to be built after all. He didn't give any reason for having changed his mind, but merely warned the animals that this extra task would mean very hard work. It might even be necessary to reduce their rations. All that year, animals worked like slaves almost 60 hours a week, including Sunday afternoon as well. Now, one day, after a storm, animals find the windmill toppled. The human farmers in the area declare smugly that animals made the walls too thin. But Napoleon claims that Snowball returned to the farm to sabotage the windmill. He stages a great purge. He justifies his takeover by telling the other animals that Snowball was a traitor. He was secretly working for the human farmers. Squealer, he was the propagandist of Napoleon, makes confusing and manipulative arguments to convince most of the animals that Napoleon is telling the truth, while fear of Napoleon's dogs keep any doubters from speaking out. With his leadership unquestioned, all the animals have taken up this second proverb that Napoleon is always right. Napoleon begins expanding his powers, rewriting history to make Snowball a villain. He begins to act more and more like a human being, sleeping in a bed, drinking whiskey, and engaging in trades with neighboring farmers. The original animalist principles strictly forbade such activities. But Squealer, Napoleon's propagandist, a persuasive speaker, justifies every action to the other animals, convincing them that Napoleon is a great leader and is making things better for everyone. Encourages the animal to question their own recollections, despite the fact that common animals are cold, hungry, and overworked. As the year passes by, Mr. Frederick, a neighboring farmer, try to make a deal of some timber with Napoleon, but ended up cheating Napoleon by paying a forged banknotes. When the forgery was discovered, Mr. Frederick attacks the farm and dynamites the windmill, which had been rebuilt at great expense. After the demolition of windmill, a pitched battle ensues, during which Boxer, one of the most reliable, loyal, and hard-working player on the farm, receives major wounds. Boxer's injury weakens him, and when he later falls while working on a windmill, he senses that his time has nearly come. And all of a sudden, one day, Boxer is nowhere to be found. According to Squealer, Boxer had died in peace after having been taken to the hospital, praising the rebellion with his last breath. In reality, Napoleon has sold his most loyal and long suffering worker to a glue maker in order to get some money for whiskey. Boxer's death in the novel represents the exploitation of the working classes as well as the death of the idealism that led to the establishment of Animal Farm. Years pass on, Animal Farm and the pigs become more and more like a human beings, walking upright, carrying whips, and wearing clothes. Eventually, as the pig sees more and more power, the seven principle of animalisms, which are inscribed on the side of the one, become reduced to a single principle. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than the others. Napoleon entertains a human farmer named Mr. Pingleton at a dinner and declares his intent to ally himself with the human farmers against the laboring classes of both human and animal communities. He also changes the name of Animal Farm back to the Manor Farm, claiming that is the correct title. Looking at the party of elites through the farmhouse window, the common animals can no longer tell which are pigs and which are human beings. The book's final image expresses the animals' realization that pigs have become cruel and oppressive as human farmers in their corruption and self interest. The ending also makes the argument that political power is always the same, whoever has it, and whatever the ideology is used to justify it. Powerful people are cruel and selfish, whether they are pigs or humans, communist or capitalist. Above all, the ending suggests that all powerful people are manipulators. In our last glimpse of the dinner party, Mr. Pingleton and Napoleon are arguing because they both tried to cheat at a card game in the same way at the same time. The ending doesn't offer much hope for a workable political system with true equality for all. Rather, the ending persists that the corrupting nature of power dooms all political system to failure. It leaves you to ask yourself how we are getting betrayed by our political leaders, how certain members of a nation can elect themselves to position of a great power and abuse their fellow citizens, all under the guise of assisting them. With this, I end my summary of this wonderful book of Animal Farm. I think it's a must read for everyone who is interested to understand how the political system works, or in general, how the human behavior works. It's a very smart analogy to put a very critical subject in a very simplified manner. I will come back with another book review. Till then, take care.